Greetings. Yes, it's back. Welcome to Life Love Lessons, Series 3 for the Children's Sake. The focus of Series 3 is the future, our future, and the future of our faith, namely our children, our youth, and the lessons they need to empower them to create a life they love and to access the more abundant life Christ promised. Join me, Teacher Hazel, on Mondays at 6 p.m. for Life Love Lessons, Series 3 for the Children's Sake, on my YouTube channel, Abundant Life Mastery at the Call. See you there. Yes, welcome, hello, greetings. We're back with Life Love Lessons, Series 3 for the Children's Sake. And today we are on Lesson 8. Yes, and as usual, we begin with an acknowledgement of our Creator and Sustainer. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God sustains us. Wherever we are, God is. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. I thank God for you, and I thank you for being here with me another day. Just in case it's your first time, I am Reverend Dr. Teacher Hazel Ann Gibbs de Pisa, better known as Teacher Hazel. I am a teacher by profession, now retired after 50 years of service in the education system. I'm a teacher by calling. Teaching is my ministry. I'm also a transformational life coach and a life mastery consultant, principal of the Herman Paris Spiritual Baptist Southland School of Theology of Trinidad and Tobago, established in 1981, and director and co-founder of the Foundation for the Academic Advancement of Spiritual Baptist Youth, a spiritual Baptist solution for a spiritual Baptist problem, established 1998. And so, welcome to Life Love Lessons, Series 3 for the Children's Sake, Living the Christ Life. And Lesson 8, I am that I am. Yes, that's his name. I am that I am. And before we get into what we're doing, let's see why. These lessons are intended to encourage you, for the children's sake, to empower our children to access the more abundant life Christ promised, to actuate them to live a life they love and love the life they live, and to maintain the authenticity of the spiritual Baptist Christian faith. Yes, so the focus is on the children. We want to give them a better deal than we had. Yes? What is his name? And Moses said unto God, Behold, when I come unto the children of Israel, and shall say unto them, The God of your fathers hath sent me unto you, and they shall say to me, What is his name? What shall I say unto them? And God said unto Moses, I am that I am. And he said, Thus shalt thou say unto the children of Israel, I am hath sent me unto you. And that's taken from Exodus 3:13 and 14. And so, as we begin lesson 8, I am that I am. That's his name. But let us pause a bit and breathe before going forward. Do you remember our first breathing exercise in lesson 4? It was a meditation breath in loving me. I'll just remind you, you breathed in, I am, and then out. And in, I am me, and out. And in, I love the me that I am, and out. Yes. And I hope that you've been practicing it, because it is a meditation breath in loving me. And you remember how important it is to love me, because I'm supposed to love my neighbor just as I love myself. So if I don't love myself, then I can't love my neighbor. Okay? Today we're going to do another breathing meditation. And this one is a mindful breathing meditation, because we want to focus. And this time you're focusing on your breathing. So as you breathe in to the count of 5, and hold to the count of 5, and then breathe out to the count of 5. And you're going to be focusing on your breath. That breath that you are taking in and blowing out. And in listening to your breath and focusing on your breath, you may even listen to your heartbeat, because there's a rhythm there. All right? So let's begin. Breathe in. 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold. 2, 3, 4, 5. Out. And in. 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold. 2, 3, 4, 5. Out. In. 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold. 2, 3, 4, 5. Out. In. 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold. 2, 3, 4, 5. Out. And one more. In. 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold. 2, 3, 4, 5. Out. 4, 5. Yes. And if you follow the instructions and breathe along with me, you ought to be feeling light and clear. Remember, the breath that you breathe is not yours. You cannot make yourself breathe. The I am is breathing you. He said his name. I am that I am. And that's our lesson today. I am is part of and is the name of God. He said, tell them, I am sent you. Yes? So, what's in a name? We have already established that we are spiritual beings sojourning in physical form, having a human experience. And we understand that there is a nexus between the finite physical being and the infinite spiritual being. And the nexus is shown on the cross, and it's called now. You see, now is the only time when the infinite spiritual meets with the finite physical. Not tomorrow, because we don't know what's going to be tomorrow. Not yesterday, that's gone already. No. We are made in the image of God, and God is spirit. So then we are his children. We represent him. So what's in a name? What's in a name? In the physical world, children carry their parents' name, yes? If your name is Marjorie Roberts, it follows that either your father or your mother is named Roberts. You can identify your lineage by the name Roberts. God's name is I am. We are his children. When we say I am, we are identifying with our Father Creator. Now, some families are proud of their name and their heritage. And while you are yet children, you would hear the elders telling you, don't spoil your name, you know. You have to behave once you're carrying this name. Yes, and lots of families were very particular when you carry their name. When we use the name of God, I am, we are representing a heritage of which we are proud. So we ought not to spoil we father name. God is good. Therefore, I am good. God is love. Therefore, I am love. God is awesome. So, I am awesome. Yes, we have to understand who we are because we carry his name. Everything about God is positive. When we use his name as our name, we should identify with his nature, which is good and true and pure. But here what happens. We use his name as our name, and we add negative qualities that do not align with his nature. So we spoil and we add a name. We say, I am sick, I am weak, I am poor, I am dunce, I am stupid. Remember, where your focus goes, your energy flows, and your vibrations attract like vibrations. So when you are stuck vibrating in the negative frequencies, what do? You attract the vibrations of the negative frequencies. But our God is positive. Positive frequencies of love and gratitude and forgiveness and truth and joy and peace. So remember, the finite is in touch with the infinite. The physical is in touch with the spiritual. And therefore, we are supposed to be functioning on the higher frequencies because we say his name for our name. I am. Now, the problem is the colonial masters did a number on us by entrenching our focus on scarcity and lack and inadequacy. Yes, but it is time that we liberate our minds from those shackles of negativity and acknowledge and accept that we are fearfully and wonderfully made, that we have been given abundance and potential, and we need to claim our true heritage. When we use our Father's name and say, I am, let us represent the I am. You remember we learned that our perception is our reality. If we perceive ourselves as weak and worthless and not enough, that would be our reality. Because where our focus goes, our energy flows. And like vibration attracts like vibration. So we need to perceive ourselves as being fearfully and wonderfully made, as the children of the King. So when we say I am, put a positive ending to that I am to represent our Father. When you say I am, use positive words after it. Claim your heritage and align yourselves with the I am when you say I am. Because what's in a name? Your name defines you. So make the choice. I am good and loving and true and caring and abundant and beautiful and wonderful because I am my Father's child. And I am is his name. And when I carry it with pride. Yes. So what's in a name? Your name defines you. And that's why he was particular to say what his name was. And having determined your name, we're moving on to self-development and that sense of self. Now remember, we spoke about the baggage that we have from our colonial past with all the negativity and all the lack and inadequacy. But we can beat that because the children begin from zero at birth. And they refer to the birth period 0 to 3 months in the stages of development in children, right? So typically, they refer to those first 3 months as birth. And then from there on to 1 year, that is infancy. And the first years of a child's life is when the child learns the most. Yes? So there's infancy, and then there's early childhood from 1 to 3, and we call that the toddler stage, right? And they're developing skills, and we know how fast they learn and how fast they develop. And then from 3 to 5, we call that the preschool age, right? So we have a lot of preschools, right? Early childhood centers, we call them now.
right? Where they get into imaginative play and all their early learning skills. And then there's middle childhood or school age, right? And that's from 6 to 12, when they begin to develop their logical thinking and their social skills and their academic abilities. And then they move on to adolescent when they get into the teen years. But those first 6 or 7 years are the most crucial for foundational learning. And what we expose them to is what fashions their perception of self. And remember, your perception is your reality. So, what we expose them to. And if we just look at the slide, we'll see the caring, the loving, the nurturing, the exercising, the communing, the joy. So, all of these, the learning taking place as the self develops. Yes? And we, the elders, are responsible for what we expose them to as they develop that sense of self. And you'll remember, children learn what they live. You remember that poem? Yes. And there are a few things I want to just remind you again. That when they live with hostility, they learn to fight. So if they are in a hostile environment and it's always quarreling and fighting and you have to defend yourself and nobody there to defend you, they're going to fight. So we have the problem of the fighting now. Yes? And if they are in a situation of fear, they become apprehensive. So they're always looking over their shoulder, they're always looking in every corner. They're apprehensive because they have not had the comfort of concern. They were always fearful, never knowing what would happen next to them and who would stand up for them. We are the ones who put them through those things, and remember, they are learning as they go along, right? When they grow up with ridicule, they become shy, you know, and it shows up even in their learning in school. So that you're teaching adults, as I have done, and you ask a question, and nobody would give an answer because they're so accustomed to that's the wrong thing. Or they're so accustomed to people laughing at them when they make a mistake that even though they are adult and they know the material, they are not brave enough to answer. Your answer can either be right or wrong, and you're entitled to give a right answer or a wrong answer. But because of the development and the sense of self that has been created and the perception, even though they have the right answer, they're afraid to say it. So that when they grow with ridicule, they end up being shy. That's what they learn. And when you keep shaming them, they feel guilty. So that there are people who feel so guilty about all kinds of nonsense that do not even matter because they've been shamed so much. We are responsible for the development of the sense of self of our children. Children learn what they live. And as we have learned before, how you think directly affects how you live. So we, the elders, have to change the thinking now, so that we don't pass on the old ways to the children, right? Remember, your thoughts create your world. Your perception is shaped by your experience. So if we don't offer them experiences that will help them to appreciate who they are and to recognize who they are and to be aware of how great life is and how good God is. If we don't give them those experiences, they won't have it, and their perception of life would be negative. Your perception is your reality. Living abundantly is your legacy. We need to give those children their true legacy by letting them know that God provided for abundant living. And He was so kind that He went further to send His Son to provide more abundant living for us. So, whatever we were missing out on, He sent His Son to make provision for more abundant living. Loving life is your destiny. So teach the children to love life. Don't have them fearful and fighting and shy and coward. No. Our responsibility for the children's sake. Let us learn how they develop and provide them with what they need to develop properly. Okay? Because those early years, the foundations are laid. And remember, they are learning from whatever they are living with, from whatever they are experiencing. And they go through the stages of development because that's how life is on earth. So once they come here, that's the process. And we who are the elders have to be mindful of this and to provide them with the tools necessary to live an abundant life and to have a positive sense of self. Yes? And you know, there's this thing called the self-fulfilling prophecy. And very often we hear about it in terms of teachers' influence on children in their classes, but it applies generally. So let's just look at the graphic of the self-fulfilling prophecy. It starts on the right. Others' beliefs about us cause others' action towards us. So if the teacher believes that the children dance and they can't learn, her treatment of them will be saying that they dance and they can't learn. Her expectations of them will be, I don't expect them to win, to pass, to get anything right, because the perception is that they dance and they can't learn. Right? So their beliefs about us cause their actions toward us. And I use the reference of the teacher, but I'll also use the reference of the parent, because when the parent says, you're worthless like your father, it says that their perception of us, their beliefs about us, is that we're not going to amount to anything. And that causes them to treat us in a particular way. And what happens? That treatment reinforces our beliefs about ourselves. So if you're always telling me I dance and I strip it and I can't do nothing, well, what making any effort for? I dance, I strip it, and I can't do nothing. So I don't want to get your vex. I'm going to do what you expect of me. I dance, I strip it, and I can't do nothing. So it reinforces those beliefs. And of course, those beliefs that we now take on will influence our actions. So Miss Dunn say I dotish and she's put me in the back of the class and she don't really teach me nothing. So me bothering to learn, me bothering to try self. Because she might get a shock if I get it all right. So it make no sense try. Mommy done say I ain't gonna be nothing. So why worrying up my head for? She done say that already. So I good. Just say that. Okay. I had to make no effort. So the reinforcement influences our actions, and then our actions now impact the beliefs that they have of us. So that's why it's called self-fulfilling prophecy. Because whatever you start off with, if you have a class as a teacher, or if you have children, if you expect great things from them, you will treat them in such a way that they will want to do great things because they will see themselves in that light and they will behave that way and therefore cause you to be happy. So the impact that they will have on you will increase your belief of them, and you will increase your good treatment of them, and they will increase their success. So it goes around in a cycle as is shown in the graphic. But if you start off with there with nothing, you ain't gonna make no effort to teach them nothing. And then they ain't gonna bother to learn nothing because they don't want to surprise you and shock you. So, and then the cycle goes on. So that's the self-fulfilling prophecy. And we need to be careful about that. If we expect a lot of them and we treat them as if we expect a lot of them, then they will come up to standard. But if we make them feel that we don't really care, and in any case, they can't do nothing good, and waste of time, then they're going to be just that way. Because remember, they are learning from their experiences. Their perception is based on what they experience, on what they believe. And what they believe is based on what you believe and how you treat them, right? So we have to break this cycle. We have been taught to feel that we are not enough and we don't have enough and we don't do enough and there's not enough and there's scarcity and lack. And if we believe those lies, then we will live in that way. So our thoughts will always be thoughts of scarcity and lack, and therefore attraction, vibration. So it is time we learn to tap into the truth of our being and learn how to vibrate in abundance. Because the universe is abundant. God provided an abundant universe for us. He even goes so far as to challenge us. Malachi 3:10. Prove me now herewith, said the Lord of hosts, if I will not open you the windows of heaven and pour you out a blessing that there shall not be room enough to receive it. God provided everything we need in abundance. And then he sent his son that we may have even more abundant lives. So why are we living these negative self-fulfilling prophecies when we know that we are spiritual beings sojourning on this earth, having a human experience, but we really belong to God? Our sufficiency is of God, and he is all powerful, all knowing, all everything. So let us begin to shift the focus from the lies that we've been told about ourselves and accept the truth about ourselves. And you know what is sad? We claim that we know Jesus and we love the Lord, and we still hold on to the lies that we are nothing and we're not worth anything and we can't do anything good and we don't have and we don't do and we don't. Let us come out of that rut, emancipate the mind, transform the mind, as the word says, so that we can claim the rich heritage of the name that we carry every time we say, I am. And you will have recognized that part of the name of Series 3, for the children's sake, living the Christ life. Yes, that's part of the name of the series, living the Christ life for the children's sake. We have to train the children to know the power of God, to know their connection with God, to know that they are not just physical beings. They just don't only have a body that fits into the natural physical world, but that they also have a soul where choices are made, and they have a spirit that aligns with the Spirit of God. And therefore, there is that direct connection so that they learn to live the Christ life from small. We don't have to wait until they get big for them to learn to live the Christ life. And if you follow the program, this series, the Christ life entails all of what we've been doing in the series, all the topics. We went through the grounding where you understand the foundations, the growing, the learning, the loving, the forgiving, because all of that, those are aspects of the Christ life. And then we went into the universal laws. So we understand about our physical senses, our spiritual senses, and then the universal laws that govern and keep the world spinning. Yes. And now we're making the direct connection. His name, I am that I am, and aligning the elements of the Christ life. So for the children's sake, let us shift the focus from the negative to the positive. Let us shift the focus from lack to abundance, because God provided all of that for us. And if indeed we are aware of who we are and we understand who our Father is and we are proud of his name, then we will live up to his name so that he can be proud of us. And so, for the children's sake, let the children know vibrations attract like vibrations. Tell them that if they keep fussing and fretting and being angry, that's the way they're going to be. So they need to learn to be joyful and peaceful and loving. Let them know about the duality of life, The where there's up, there's down. Where there's in, there's out. So you can't be out all the time. You have to be in sometimes. You can't be up all the time. You have to be down sometimes, because it is learning from one from the other. Let them know that they are both spiritual and human, spiritual and physical. And the spiritual is the one that lives on. And that's the important one they need to focus on. Because the physical ends. You remember the diagram. The infinite goes on, no stop. But the finite, there's a stop. There's a point, a starting point, and an ending point. We call it birth and we call it death. And they need to understand this from small. They need to know that the potential of the universe and everything in it is unlimited, because our God is unlimited. That the universal laws are unchanging principles that rule our entire universe. The laws don't change, They're there. The principles are there and they function. You throw something up, gravity will bring it back down. You quarrel and you fuss and you complain all the time, you'll get more to quarrel and fuss and complain about. Yes? Let them know that our limitations are created by our thoughts and our beliefs and our perceptions. Teach them that the spirit, which is our true self and the essence of our being, is free to access the pure potentiality of the Creator. If we think we can, or we think we can't, we are right. Because our thoughts make the difference. And our thoughts, once we keep them over and over, they turn into beliefs. And when they become beliefs, then they shape our perception. So they need to learn from early to let go and let God. To pray that God will teach them how to wait. Because that's part of the experience of the human life. Learning to wait. Because everything has a time frame. We hustle things now. And we want everything now for now. So we're forcing the fruits to grow before time and out of season. And we're forcing the animals to grow faster than they should. And we see what mess we're making of our bodies and our minds because of this hustle that we're on. We want everything now. Instant. But instant is not really instant. Because even though you get instant coffee, and you can just pour some hot water and put some milk, or you don't even have to put it because it has the milk and sugar in it already. Everything's 3 in 1 pack, I think they call it. Right? So it's instant. Yes. But you know how many years it took to grow and how many people had to see about it. And they had to ship it to somewhere else. And then they had to grind it. And then they had to bottle it. And then they had to package it. And then they had to ship it again before it got to the grocery. And you had to go to the grocery and pick it up and bring it home. So then it's not instant. And we need to teach the children that you have to wait, because that's the nature of this world. And they need to understand that all of the essential laws work in harmony with each other. And that's why we went through them. So vibration and attraction, attraction and deliberate creation, and detachment and allowing, and abundance and pure potentiality, and polarity, the dual nature of life on earth, that everything is created twice. Yes? It has to be created in the mind, in the spiritual world, in the thought world, before it can manifest in the physical world, in the human world. Children need to know this. They need to know that they don't only have physical senses, but they also have super senses. They need to be aware of the power of their thoughts. So, for the children's sake, we need to pass this on. And we need to adopt it and adapt it to our own lives so that we can pass it on. Because remember, you cannot give what you don't have. And that's why we're learning to be aware and to know and to understand, because the key is to cultivate a mindset of abundance and positivity, to live at the level of gratitude and love, the higher vibration, which will give us much more ease of living. Hmm? The children's future depends on your teaching and the experiences you afford them. So let them know that with God, all things are possible. For the children's sake, we want to pass all these things on. We don't want them to miss out. We don't want them to be like us, having to go through hell because they didn't know better. So all the negative thoughts and all the thoughts of inadequacy, I'm not enough, I don't do enough, I don't have enough. Let us not get them into that mood. Let us transform their minds, emancipate their minds for the children's sake, that they will have a more abundant life. Yes? And so I look at the time, and we're at the end of this lesson. And as usual, I want to thank you for being with me. I hope you enjoyed the session as much as I enjoyed sharing it with you. And if you have any comments or questions, I am willing to take them. All you have to do is to put them in the chat. And yes, hello, hello, hello. Thank you for your hello. Yes. So I see someone sent me a nice, beautiful hello, right? So are there any other questions or comments coming in? Because if we have no other questions or comments at this time, then let me say thank you again. Hope to see you next Monday, same time, same place, for more life love lessons for the children's sake. God bless you. And as the young man says, see you there. Bye bye.